Topic is Krasner's and Ranko's law from the access opening from endodontics. Now what is this Krasner's and Ranko's law? So for a successful root canal treatment, you need a proper access opening. So locating the number and the position of the orifices on the pulp chamber floor, it can be difficult sometimes. Especially true when the tooth being treated, it is heavily restored, malpulsed or it is calcified. So there were a group of scientists who examined around 500 extracted tooth and they have proposed some laws. So the two scientists were there, in which one was Paul Krasner and Henry Ranko. So they have given this laws. So they have given this 9 laws which will help to obtain proper access opening. So these laws, they are divided into 2 parts. So first part is the laws that governs the relationship of the pulp chamber to the clinical crown, and the second group is the laws of relationship of the pulp chamber to the orifices. So they are divided into these groups, and having a knowledge of this, it helps in preventing the perforation. So these are the evaluation of the cemento-enamel junction and the root canal orifice. So Krasner and Ranko, they have determined that the cemento-enamel junction, it is the most important anatomic landmark for determining the location of the pulp chamber and the root canal orifice. So the laws of Krasner's and Ranko's are, so the first law is law of centrality. So centrality, it means something which is present in the center. Now what the law states that, so it states the floor of the pulp chamber, it is always located in the center of the tooth at the level of CEJ. So now this is the diagram for your tooth. So in this, now this is your pulp chamber. The crown portion is known as pulp chamber. Over here in the root, it is known as root canal. The orifice is when the pulp chamber, it opens into this root canal. Over here it opens through this orifice. Then this is the pulp chamber, as I said. So this is the roof of your pulp chamber. This is the floor of your pulp chamber, as same for your room. So you have a roof and a floor, and the walls, so these are your walls of your pulp chamber. So the first law, it states the floor of the pulp chamber, it is at the center of your tooth. So this is, for example, this is your floor of your pulp chamber. So it states that it is present in the center of your tooth. So this is your tooth. So this floor, it is present at the center, but at the level of CJ. So this is your tooth. So this is the level of CJ. So this floor, it is present at the center at this level of CJ. So this is the first. The second is the law of concentricity. Now what is this? So the walls of the pulp chamber, they are always concentric to the external surface of the tooth at the level of CJ. Now we have seen, so these were the walls for your pulp chamber. So in this, these walls, they are always concentric. Concentric is nothing but they are almost equal to it. For example, if your tooth, it is bulged at some portion, so in that case the walls or your pulp chamber, it will be bulged in that area. So that is nothing but the law of concentricity. So this is nothing but the walls of your pulp chamber, they are always concentric to your external surface. So this is your external surface of your crown. So this walls, they are always concentric to them. So the distance is almost equal. So when your tooth, it is bulging, or when it is narrower at some portion, for example, if it is narrower mesiodistally, so in that case your pulp chamber will be also narrower mesiodistally. So this is the law of concentricity. So the third law is the law of cemento-enamel junction. Now what this law says, so the distance from the external surface of the clinical crown to the wall of the pulp chamber is the same throughout the circumference of the tooth. So whenever you are measuring the distance, so it means that the distance from the external surface of your crown is always equal to the wall of the pulp chamber, irrespective from where you are measuring. For example, if you are measuring it from here to here, so it is A, from here to here it is A, from here to here it is A, be it from any point, but this measurement, it is always same. So this is the law of CJ. So the CJ, it is the most consistent repeatable landmark for locating the position of the pulp chamber. So those were the laws of the relationship of the pulp chamber to the clinical crown. Now moving on towards the next part, that is the laws of the relationship of the pulp chamber to the orifices. So orifices, as I said, the pulp chamber, it gets opened into that root canal through that orifice. So the relationship of it is, so the first law is the law of symmetry 1. So except for the maxillary molar. So except for the maxillary molars, the orifices of the canal, they are equidistant from a line which is drawn in a mesiodistal direction through the pulp chamber floor. So now this is your pulp chamber floor. So when you are drawing a line mesiodistally, so now over here, now you can see this is a line which is drawn mesiodistally from mesial to the distal side. So it states that your orifices, they are equidistant from this line. So there are these two orifices which are present. So the distance between this line and this orifice and the distance between this line and this orifice is always equal. So this line it was A and this was B. So this measurement it was A and this was B. So it states A is equal to B. So this is nothing but law of symmetry 1. That means it's symmetrical. The fifth law it states, now this is the law of symmetry 2. So it states now again except for the maxillary molars. Now your maxillary molars, they have a very complex structure. So the orifices and everything is too different for your maxillary molars. And because of that we are excluding them from this law of symmetry 1 and 2. Now law of symmetry 2, it states that the orifices of the canal, so the opening of your canals, they lie on a line which is drawn perpendicular to the line which is drawn in the mesiodistal direction across the center of the floor of the pulp chamber. Now we have drawn this mesiodistal line. So in this symmetry 2, you are drawing a line which is perpendicular to this mesiodistal line, and the orifices, it will lie on this perpendicular line. So now you have seen this is the line which we are drawing perpendicular to this mesiodistal line. So now you can see over here the orifices, they are present on this perpendicular line. So this is the law of symmetry 2. Now the next law is law of color change. Now in this, it is like the color of the pulp chamber floor. So your floor, it is always darker than the walls. So the floor, it is always darker than the walls. So over here, now this is the floor. So it is always darker than the walls. So now the clinical guide of the color change is, now for enamel you will see the color as white. For dentine you will see it as yellow. The floor of the pulp chamber is like a grey color. The orifice, the root canal orifice, they have dark grey or black color. And if there is a pulp stone which is present, in that case you will see the color as dark yellow or pearly white. So these are like the different colors. And this is nothing but the law of color change. It states the pulp chamber floor, it is always darker than the walls. Now the next law is the law of orifice location 1. So it states that the orifices of the root canal, they are always located at the junction of the wall and the floor. Now for example, the room you are sitting in, so you can consider it as your pulp chamber. So now in that you have your 4 walls, and then you have a roof and you have a floor. So for example, now in this, so these are your 4 walls, this is the roof and this is the floor. So in this law of orifice location 1, it states that the orifices, they are located at the junction of your wall and floor. So this becomes your junction of your wall and floor. So this is your floor and this is your wall. For example, we are considering one wall. So this becomes the junction of it. So your orifice can be located at the junction anywhere. So this is like a line angle. So now when you're joining 2 points, so it becomes like a line angle. Law of orifice location 1, the orifice, it can be present at any location on this junction of your floor and the wall. So this is nothing but the law of orifice location 1. It states the orifice of the root canal, they are located at the junction of your walls and the floor. Now the next law is law of orifice location 2. Now what law of orifice 2 is? So the orifices of your root canals, they are located at an angle in the floor wall junction. Now as we have seen in this, so these are your walls. So these are your 4 walls. This is the floor. So in orifice 2, it states that the orifices of the root canal, they are located at the angle. So now in this, it is your floor and it is the wall. So the angle at which they meet. So in this, now you have seen this was a line angle. But now the law of orifice location 2, it states that the orifices, they are located at the angles of your floor and the wall junction. So the angles at which, so this is your junction, like this whole line, it was a junction. But now in this, it is at the angle. So this is the angle at which they are meeting. So this is the angle. So the orifice, it will be present at this angle, that is nothing but the point angle. And in law of orifice location 1, it was like located at the line angle. And in law of orifice 2, they are located at the point angle. So at the angle of your junction. So that becomes your point angle. So like in this diagram, so your orifice, it was present anywhere throughout this junction. In this law of orifice 1, it can be present over here, it can be present over here, it can be present anywhere on this line. But now in orifice 2, it is present at the angle. So there is this single point at which it is present. That is the angle of your wall and the floor junction. So nothing but the law of orifice location 2. Now moving on towards the last law, that is the law of orifice location 3. So it states that the orifices of the root canal, they are located at the terminus of the root developmental fusion lines. Now these fusion lines, they are like a thin black lines which are seen at the fusion of the root during the development of the teeth. So this fusion line, they are darker than the pulp flow color. So in this now, as this law says, it states that the orifices, they are located at the terminus of this line. So if this is the line, for example, if this is your developmental line, so terminus means at the end of it. So the orifices, they are present at this end of your developmental fusion lines. So these are your developmental fusion line. So your orifices, they are present at the terminus, that is the end portion of your fusion lines. So this was the 9th law, which is the law of orifice location 3. So these all are the 9 laws of Krasner's and Rankos for the axis opening. Thank you so much.